Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Kretschmer, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network, Woman of Inspiration, and this is the Woman of Inspiration podcast, where we speak with inspiring women who are leading by example and inspiring others locally, nationally, and globally. So today with me is Karen MacNeill. Karen is a psychologist. She is the founding partner of Headversity. So Karen, I would love you to share a little bit about Headversity for those of you that have not dipped their toes into to learn more about that. You are a psychologist with the Copen Healthcare Center in Calgary, and also you've been a seasonal instructor at the Haskayne School of Business, their MBA program, and of course teaching programs for high performance. Now, Karen, you have worked with over the last four Olympic Winter Games. Oh my goodness, you've worked with Olympians for I want to say decades, really, over the last four Olympics, decades, and you work with mindset, getting people into the right mindset. So right now, I couldn't think of a better person to talk about mindset than yourself. So thank you so much for joining us, Karen. It's great to have you on. I just want to mark the date. We're only 5 weeks out from what is now we're classifying as the Great Pause, right? So March 11th, the World Health Organization classified this as a global pandemic, and there's not one soul in the entire world where this is not impacting someone in some way. So Karen, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and look forward to having the conversation with you.
Awesome. So let's start with your story. So I think it's always really interesting. People always want to know why you chose the path that you're on. And so maybe you can share a little bit with the listeners and the viewers today, a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so, my journey really, I think a lot of where I am today started in sport. And sport is just such a great microcosm of handling challenges, working as a team, trying to rise to be your best in rugged conditions. And so, played all sports during the year, and then it was really field hockey that chose me by the end. And I ended up playing for Team Canada for over a decade. But my very first international match, after training, I don't know how many years to get on that team, I finally was able to wear the maple leaf on my back. And I get to the field, we're in Amsterdam at this time, and have a sense of panic around this. And finally, once it's my opportunity to go on the field, I was a hot mess, and I blew it. And I lasted probably about 4 minutes. And I trained my craft. I knew what I was doing. I trained my body, but I had not trained my mind. And so after that experience, I thought never again would I let my mind be a thief of my big moment. And so that really forged this passion, and it has informed my life's work, which is really around developing others' mental fitness, building their resilience, so they can show up consistently and at their best on a consistent basis.
That is so inspiring. And I have to say, when I'm thinking about some of the big goals that I have, I always think about you and training like an Olympian, like that Olympian mindset, meaning, I need my sleep, I need to meditate, I need to have my goals, and I have all of these things sort of lined up that's really important. And I actually try, and I'm not an Olympian by any stretch, but that's the kind of mindset that you have to have in place in order to succeed. So I think that's an amazing thing that you're doing for people. Now, Karen, when you were a little girl, did you ever consider that you'd be in this field, or was it you just into sports and wanting to, make an impact that way?
Yeah, I think really when I was little, sport was a big part of it, and always that journey. But I always had these difference makers, and it was usually around imparting wisdom around how I could calm, or I'm a high energy girl, as you know, but imparting little tips and tools in terms of how I can regulate some of my emotions, how I could focus and direct my energy, how I could build that confidence. And that made a world of difference. So I think No, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then I wanted to be a sport broadcaster. Those were my two big things. The astronaut
There's
was,
still time, Karen. There's still time.
still time. So yeah, sport broadcaster was good. I was good. That was going to be my thing. And then really just throughout my journey, it once again, it's a career that kind of chose me. And then, you know, I actually, through my school journey, I started in sports psychology, did a master's there. And then I wanted more clinical and counseling psychology. So I did applied psychology, did another master's. And then my PhD was organization, sport, performance, and counseling. So that's my practice today. It really encompasses mental health, mental fitness, and building that resilience. So I'm very blessed to be able to work with so many different populations, high performers, leaders, organizations, and helping develop them so that they can have a positive impact on others.
What a niche you've created. Is there anybody else in the world that is doing remotely close to what you're doing?
Well, I think
I hear crickets.
yeah. Well, and you know what, there's a bunch of us out there, I think, and that's the thing. There's a few streams. There's the psychology world, and then there's the performance psychology, and in the States they train a little bit different than we do in Canada, but typically we stay in one stream, where I've done kind of both, which allows me to kind of dance in a few of the worlds. So it's yeah, I think it really is. It's the ability to work, as you say. I'm the lead mental health counselor with the Canadian Olympic team, so leading a charge in terms of supporting the athletes through this these uncertain times. You know, a founder at Headversity, as you mentioned, which really is a mental wellness tech company. So having a digital online application that measures, tracks, and trains resilience. I mean, you know, the one silver lining, or the one gift of all this, is we can really make an impact and help people because of the digital format, and they have resilience training in their fingertips, which that resilience is so important right now. So yeah, I just feel blessed that I'm able to kind of live my purpose, which is to be a difference maker and help develop others so they can be the best version of themselves.
Well, I'm sitting here, I have I have a whole page full of questions, but as you're talking, I'm thinking about all these other questions. So the first question for you is, you know, your journey in your path. How has, and this is probably pretty, you know, like obvious, but how has your journey and path prepared you for leading through the current crisis that we're facing?
Great question, Monica. And I think this really is the epitome of what resilience is. And when we look at resilience, there's a school of thought, and we've heard that it's bouncing back. Something happens and then I bounce back and I'm resilient. And there's a place for that. Where we see it at Headversity, resilience is the readiness to face adversity. So I'm equipping myself with personal assets, insight and awareness on how I respond to stress, tools and strategies to regulate that normal emotional reaction, ability to handle difficult conditions. And so I think my path as an athlete, being years in the field, attending multiple Olympic Games, which is a pressure cooker, and understanding what I need to navigate in those moments, and it's having the tools and strategies to regulate. And let's be clear, it doesn't mean that I present and I behave perfectly all the time, because I have that knowledge. I'm a human being, but I have the awareness. Like last Thursday, you know, I have this brand, you know, I've identified the brand in terms of how I want to show up. So calm, grounded, and proactive. Well, I was a 2 out of 10 on calm and grounded. And so it just gave me that insight that, okay, I need the weekend off. I need to go regulate. So I think part of it is it's almost having, I call it like that mental fitness golf bag, right? So if you go around a golf course with all these different clubs, using just your putter isn't going to be effective for each shot. You need all these tools, the calm club, the mindfulness club, the confidence club, the focus club, to be able to navigate all these different circumstances. So I think the journey in terms of learning all this stuff, combined with the experience of being in high pressure, uncertain, unpredictable environments, and building the confidence in myself that I have what I need to adjust or adapt to whatever comes my way.
Amazing. And that is such a great place to be, right? And I you know, I say that I thrive in that adversity as well, because it's been 13 years for me, that it's been constant. So right now, I switch my hat on almost and go, okay, where are the solutions through this? Let's look about the solutions. So I'm very, like I thrive where I get excited. I see opportunities everywhere, right? Because I've been so conditioned to think about the other side, to think about coming through, to think about pushing forward. So, what are some of those tips and strategies that you might be able to share with our listeners from your experience that you can share about resilience or getting into that mindset?
Yeah, and I think the very first place to start, and I think that is part of it. We got to push through. We've got to forge. We also have to connect to what is. And so I think the very first part of it is to, really connect with what's going on for you, what's happening in your internal climate. We are all going to have different emotions and different reactions, and all of those are normal and valid. So part of it is to acknowledge and accept what the internal experience is. And so I think we've got to remember that emotions are there to protect us. They're there to serve us. And so Susan David, love her work, Emotional Agility, highly recommend to all the listeners out there. But she talks about our emotions as data. So it's information. It's telling me A, what I need, and B, what's important to me. So for example, if I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed, that's just telling me I'm feeling a little bit out of control, and I need to feel, I need a little bit more reassurance and security. And then the trick is to not let our emotions be directors. So I'm feeling anxious and overwhelmed, and I go buy all the toilet paper, or I stay inside and don't go out, and that's not good for me either. And so it's that nimbleness, and that's what she talks about with the emotional agility. It's to experience the full range of emotions with compassion. Yeah, it's normal. We're humans. And curiosity. What is it telling me that I need, and make sure that we're attending to that. So Monica, I think the first thing is, once again, normalizing, accepting those emotions. So that's one piece. I think the second piece is really going back to managing all that uncertainty, to accept it, but also focus on what's in your control. So controlling the controllables, right? So this is a novel situation. There's no playbook, but what can I do? I can build my immunity. I can take care of myself really well physically. I can boost my mental health. A crisis is a terrible thing to waste. I've heard from some colleagues. So let's use it as an opportunity to build those resilient skills. And then I think the last thing I speak to people about is our brain's going to be lit up when we're scanning for threat and danger. We need to pair that with what's good. So using that tool of gratitude, or having that challenger mindset in terms of, what is the opportunity here? How is Karen going to learn, grow, develop as a result of this experience? How is the world? You mentioned that's the first time we've all had to fly in formation. I know in the sport world, we're breaking down barriers. We're communicating and working collectively. It's been amazing. So those would be a few things that people can try out.
Amazing. I think that's a lot of things to absorb. And what I'm taking out from what you're saying that's really, really important, where I tend to speak fast and go right through myself personally, is to acknowledge the time, because I'm like, got it. And then I move on. Like, I just want to move past it so quickly. So I think that's really, really important and valuable information. It's like, sit with it, feel it, and then choose to move forward with it, right?
That's
so
right.
I think acknowledgement is really powerful. So thank you for reminding me about that as well today. So that was really great advice. Now, your company, Karen, with Headversity, as a founder in the company and leading an organization, how has the culture shifted? How are you leading? Are you leading differently as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I heard a quote the other day which really stood out to me, and it was, we're not working from home. We're at home during a pandemic trying to work, right? So I think within that, it's really, you know, the acknowledgement. We've talked about work-life balance before. We've talked about creating boundaries, even more now, you know, making sure that people are taking care and creating that separation. So I think that's one thing, is to, you know, when we're looking at what needs to be done, we're looking at it in the context in which we're trying to do it, right? So I think that would be a piece of it. I think the other thing, at Headversity, we're really talking about the brave new workplace, right? And so this is a place where we are unfazed by remote work, where we know how to use technology, and it's really around doing those team check-ins, and really knowing the rules, which, sorry, my team will laugh because I'm horrible at this, not cutting in, giving room for others to speak, because we don't have those natural cues that we normally would, right? So learning how to do that, making sure that we're using the technology in front of us in order to deliver some of our products. And that's the thing with Headversity, is we are digital. We're a new way of mental health, just to get people the access so they can have it and be empowered to have it in their own fingertips.
Amazing. And, you know, I think that, you know, what it's provided is an opportunity to get where we want to be. So many organizations that I've talked to, they're like, well, we had, you know, decided that we were going to go 100%, well, we're going to go virtual, or, you know, do a bigger piece of our business virtually. And now overnight, people have had to adapt to that, like, instantly. So it's actually, you know, pushed us into a space of uncomfortableness, but it's provided us opportunities to grow at the same time and to learn those experiences. So
that's right.
Really interesting.
I think we were going to get there. Yeah, sorry, I think we were going to get there anyway. I think you're right. I think this has just expedited us into this brave new workplace. Yeah.
And I look at like your business, the Universal Women's Network, is we've got like a global network. And so I work really hard on bringing almost like a magnet awareness to the network and to the people and the businesses that are associated. Right now, they're all, I see that there's a galaxy of businesses. So I see us as being like a magnet just to bring all that together. So it's kind of exciting when you think about kind of that bigger vision of what we're actually capable to do, and what we can actually do with the situation, the technologies that we do have in place.
That's right. And you know, we talk about the social distance. Well, I'll call it physical distance, because what we need to maintain during this time is the connection and is the relationships. And there's some really great opportunities to do that in your own circles. But I think, as you just alluded to, is globally, right? So there is a way to reach, as we are all experiencing this at the same time.
So this is Women of Inspiration podcast. So I do have to, you know, talk about women of inspiration and the leaders and the female leaders like yourself that are really, like, I see this is like, it's front and center in the media. Look at our healthcare workers. You know, we've got some amazing entrepreneurs that are, you know, spearheading some amazing initiatives to help and support and, you know, carry people through this crisis. So why is it so critical that we elevate these female leaders, especially in this time right now?
Yeah, and I think, you know, like we've looked at, there was an article around all the chief medical officers, and you know, Dina Henshaw, she's doing an amazing job, and I think, you know what, it's the opportunity, and it's not about females being better than. It's about acknowledging the impact females can have in these types of situations. And so I think, you know, it really is as I said, an opportunity to highlight the different contributions that females can really have to our economy, to our communities, and to individuals who are struggling through these times of uncertainty.
And we are going to continue to elevate and recognize, and we've also sort of, you know, put it out there that we want to recognize our healthcare workers, you know, the unsung heroes, the frontline workers, because it's really important. I think heroes and leaders are actually born through crisis. Would you agree?
Yeah, and you know what, the thing is under crisis, under duress, that's where, you know, people really show their true colors. And so, I heard another quote the other day with organizations and individuals is, you really, through this, you really have an opportunity to mark your brand, how you respond to this, whether it's your personal brand or as an organization, how you attend to your people. That will really be remembered and highlighted throughout. So once again, I think it just kind of will show the gaps, but also show the amazing opportunities and the amazing people out there that are really standing tall and rising to the occasion.
Amazing. And I wouldn't, so we talk about women, but I also like to bring a little bit of awareness to the support hers in our network. So how are those support hers in your network, Karen? The male champions. Why is it so important to not forget about those male champions?
Yeah, and then that's the thing where we get into the women, the men, and I think it's just humans, right? And there's the humans and there's the individuals in there that are there to support you, there to help you rise. But it's sometimes, let's just face it, they just may have a different voice in a different group or medium, right? And so it's to have all the voices come together to elevate, to empower, and to make sure that we get these remarkable women and men contributing to make things and help us navigate the challenges that we're facing.
And I see a lot of uniting happening. Like I see uniting collaborations, innovations, I want to say unlikely collaborations sometimes of just wanting to just work together and solve a problem where it's not about a man, it's not about a woman, it's not about, it's just like businesses coming together that wouldn't have ever worked together or, I see everybody uniting right now, which is so exciting, right? I think that everything that's happening, I hope we don't forget about that.
Well, and this is where I think you're exactly right. And there's a common purpose, right? And it's really clear. And so I think people are really looking at the contribution. So I'll give you an example in sport. So
I love nobility.
You'll just cut that piece or whatever.
No, we're just flying through with it because we're being authentic right now. We're just a little bit of a technology glitch, but we're now back. Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, we're back on.
We're back on.
Technology, we gotta love it. No, I think we were just chatting about, how people are banding together, and an example in sport. So right now, for all the national sport organizations, so our Canadian teams, there's a variety of sport partners that serve them. And so during this time, we've developed a COVID-19 mental health and mental performance task force. And really, it's made up of all the sport partners. So we have Canadian Olympic Committee, Canadian Paralympic Committee, Own the Podium, Game Plan, who else do we have? Canadian Center for Mental Health and Sport, and our Sports Center networks. And so all these individuals almost creating this army of mental performance consultants and psychologists to go help the sport community, where traditionally we'd be in our little silos and we'd be doing things, kind of with different initiatives. And so we're really getting alignment. We're communicating. We're creating a model of how we can work together, which I really hope will continue, because it really is about supporting the same network and supporting our community at large.
I just love that. I that inspires me, and I know that we've done that ourselves. I've just started doing some virtual series, and in 2014 I thought, wouldn't it be great if we collaborated with the other women's organizations across Canada? Well, coming up soon, we're going to have on April the 22nd with Mumpreneur, we're going to be like, ask us anything. Come online, ask us anything. It's a free virtual event. So I'm really excited about stuff like that, where we're like, this has been something we've been thinking about, but it just has moved us forward to a place of action. So I think that's the whole thing too, is we have to take action on some of these great initiatives that we, we're thinking about, but now it's just time to move on them and give them a try.
That's right. Yeah, exactly that.
So Karen, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. I know that you've been asked to speak on so many different podcasts and news shows. You were just on, was it CNN yesterday?
Yeah, well, it was Michael Landsberg's show, Isolation Nation, TSN reporter. So yeah. Yeah, so
amazing. And I can see that your Headversity and everything that you bring to the table about that mindset is so important right now. So, before we wrap up, what sort of words of advice would you give to the leaders moving through this process? What is maybe one or two top tips that you can provide us with?
yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is use this opportunity. Really, I think having that challenger mindset of what is the opportunity here to build culture, to develop my people, to reinforce what's important to us as an organization. So I think it really is, a lot of the times we can focus on what's been taken away and what's not working, and let's not undermine, there has been a lot of horrible things, and there will be some challenges for individuals. However, it's I think for those individuals, it's how can we thrive in these times of uncertainty, by picking a growth area, looking at an opportunity, and really staying true to what contribution you can make in these times of uncertainty.
I'm going to give you one of these. It's a heart, because I am so very grateful to have this opportunity, this conversation, because I think right now that was the purpose of this interview, is to talk with some inspiring leaders like yourself who are just doing some incredible work and have the right mindset that we need to pull through this together. So thank you, Karen. For those of you that are watching and listening, this is Woman of Inspiration podcast, and we had an amazing interview with the founder of Headversity, Dr. Karen MacNeill. So Karen, how can we find out more about Headversity? And for those listening, how can we find more about that work that you do?
Yeah, so for Headversity, go to our website, www.headversity.com, or info@headversity.com, so you can find us there. For myself, not so great on social, but LinkedIn, absolutely. That's a really great place to find me, is on LinkedIn or my Instagram account as well.
Awesome. And I will, in the link below, I will be including, along with the recording, for those of you that are on live here, we'll have the full interview actually up on our site at universalwomensnetwork.com. So thank you again, Karen. Have an amazing day. And I'm going to just say, together we're stronger. We will get through this. And I look forward to continuing the conversation on the other side with you.
Great. Thanks very much for having me.
You're welcome.